watch him. Watch him.
Thought it was gonna be a regular day, like it always be. But evidently, things went wrong. He lost his life. I thought it was just gonna be a regular day, but evidently, it went sideways. I almost lost my life. Once I came out and they told me like it was, I ain't make it to the funeral, so it was really kind of hard.
Lil Durk may have shown his loyalty to King Von, but there was one person who took slide for Von to heart long before that phrase became popular: O Block Louie. On the night Von was offed, Louie was ready to risk everything to avenge him. He didn't think twice about his own life or the police already on his tail. As soon as he saw Quando Rondo's SUV, he fired.
Get on the ground. I ain't moving. Look, got my hands hurt. I'm shooting so I'm scared too. I'm tuning so I'm scared, please. Bro, watch him. Watch him.
That decision cost him dearly, as he ended up getting shot in the head, leaving him with a permanent injury and a story that's as raw as it gets.
Come on.
This is Lincoln Mary 10323.
Come on, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Yeah, about number 74.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Come on.
Let's take a closer look at Louie's life. Louie grew up on the south side of Chicago, specifically on 62nd and Calumet. While many assume he's originally from O Block, that's actually not the case, although he definitely spent plenty of time there.
I'm from the south side. See, a lot of people, they really think I'm from the O, but I'm really from 62nd and Calumet.
Louie is one of 8 siblings, and he was out on the streets from a young age, though he doesn't remember exactly when he jumped off the porch. In his words, he was always that kid who was quick to hustle and survive in his environment. Louie and Von crossed paths when Von moved to O Block, and they instantly connected. According to Louie, what made Von different was his authenticity. Von was real and stayed true to himself, which isn't something you find in everyone.
I met King Von, goddammit, when he moved to O Block.
What was it about him that made you, connect with him, click with him?
I mean, he just who he is, like.
Louie admired Von's generosity, saying Von did a lot for people out of the kindness of his heart without expecting anything in return. They became close quickly, though Louie doesn't quite know why Von took such a liking to him.
He did a lot of stuff from the heart, and they ain't really care about if you pay it back or whatever the case may be. And then he just took a liking to me. I don't know why he liked me, how he liked me, but only he'll be able to tell you.
Their bond only deepened when Von started his music career, and soon Louie was living with him, tagging along on trips and experiencing the thrill of success up close. When Von's fame took off, life became a whirlwind for the two of them. They traveled from city to city, living it up and enjoying every moment on tour. Louie remembers it as an incredible time, until the night that everything went tragically wrong. He recalls that night starting like any other, with Von being his usual self. But then everything spiraled in an instant.
I just thought it was gonna be a regular day, like it always be. But evidently, things went wrong. He lost his life. It was just gonna be a regular day, but evidently, it went sideways. I almost lost my life.
Louie ended up in a coma for 2 months after the shooting. When he finally woke up, he was told Von was gone. Processing that news was nearly impossible, especially while recovering from a severe head injury.
Once I came out and they told me like it was, I ain't make it to the funeral, so it was really kind of hard.
Louie describes the pain of hearing about Von's death as overwhelming. To this day, he doesn't know exactly why Von approached Quando Rondo that night and started swinging. It's just one of those things that happened because, according to Louie, Von was always gonna do what Von wanted.
Do you know what made King Von walk up on Quando Rondo and start punching him?
Like I said, he gonna be who he gonna be. And he already said when he catch him what he was gonna do.
On November 5th, 2020, Von tweeted his location for the evening, sharing that he was performing at Atlanta's Club Opium. While at the club, Von retweeted a Young Guinness lyric with the caption hinting that he and his crew were going to catch somebody. treating them as food. At the same time, Quando Rondo and his crew were also in town, fresh off shooting a music video. After finishing his show at Opium, instead of heading back to his Airbnb, Vaughn took a detour, going to the location where Quando Rondo was hanging out.
Went over there to the after party, and then his driver and his homeboy let us know that we was redirected. We're thinking we're gonna go to the Airbnb or the hotel.
What started as a confrontation quickly turned violent, with a fight breaking out between the two crews. In the chaos, King Von was shot 4 times. Security footage of the incident spread quickly online, showing the moments that led to the shooting. Vaughn was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, undergoing emergency surgery, but tragically, he didn't make it. The world woke up to the shocking news of his death, with media outlets everywhere reporting on the sudden loss.
Rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
As we know now, the events surrounding Von's death are what allegedly led to the Emder for Hire charges against Chicago rapper Lil Durk's OTF crew. The infamous night when Quando Rondo's friend Lil Tim shot and offed King Von was just the beginning, igniting a cycle of violent retaliation attempts. Von wasn't just a rising star in the rap world. He was a respected and feared figure in the Chicago drill scene, and his death shook up more than just the music industry. For Quando, Lil Tim, and their associates, Von's death didn't just mean losing a peer. It meant that they could be marked targets for revenge, especially from Von's crew, OTF, and the larger circle of Chicago figures who were loyal to him. The tension only escalated when fans started the Slide for Von movement, a slogan used to taunt Durk and question why he hadn't yet avenged Von's death. The phrase comes in part from one of Von's famous lyrics where he raps that if he dies, his people would be sliding every day to avenge him and raise the Emder rate.
And if I should die, I'm boosting the rate. Go slide every day.
Then there's Lil Durk's line on Pooh Shiesty's Back in Blood where he says, if the caker isn't dead, you can't wear an RIP shirt.
Killer ain't there, you sure no R.
These lyrics became fuel for fans to pressure Durk to make a move, though it's likely he didn't need that extra push to want revenge for his close friend's death. Durk even seemed to acknowledge the situation when, in an interview, he hinted that he had in fact slid for Von.
I'm not triggered by the Slide for Von comments. I don't know if people still say it.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. You be seeing them comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why.
Quando Rondo himself didn't exactly make things easier for himself after King Von's death. Instead, he kept provoking Von's people, practically putting a target on his own back. Quando released a new song titled End of Story, which seemed like a direct nod and diss to Von's popular Crazy Story series. The title alone made fans see it as a way of saying that Quando and his crew had ended Von's story, adding more fuel to the tension. To make things even more provocative, the cover art for End of Story featured a photo of Quando and Lil Tim from a music video shoot taken just before the fatal night when Von was offed. In End of Story, Quando gives his side of the incident, airing out his frustration about the backlash Lil Tim faced for defending him by opening fire. Quando rapped about how, in his view, other people's friends would have left them behind instead of defending them the way Tim did for him. He added that if the roles were reversed and he had been the one offed by Von's people, fans would probably be celebrating rather than condemning. In the song, Quando also outright claims that Lil Tim did nothing wrong, saying that if people don't have friends who'd protect them the way Tim did, they shouldn't keep them around. But he didn't stop there. He continued to drop lines that seemed like direct shots at Von and his crew from O-Block. One of the most disrespectful lines in the song says, "Blood on your brother on the ground, go and pick your mans up," while he and Tim claim self-defense. Quando even rapped that Von shouldn't have put his hands on him, adding a taunt about a supposed $1 million bounty that had been put on his head.
On the ground, go pick your mans up. Downright we screaming self-defense, you should've never put us.
And in a jab at his new ops from Chicago, he rapped, "Is that all you got? Why not make it 8 million?" This line may have sounded casual, but given Lil Durk's wealth and connections, a rumored bounty coming from this crew was not something to brush off lightly. The tension got even worse in the days after Von's death when rumors spread that Lil Durk had bought up all the tickets to Quando's next show, which was supposed to happen on November 28th in Georgia. The event was ultimately canceled, and the venue, Shock Flow Entertainment Center, informed fans that the cancellation was due to Quando's legal situation. To add to the intensity, rapper 600 Breezy took to his IG story the day End of Story dropped, challenging Quando to stop canceling shows and daring him to perform the song live. But despite the heat in the streets and the music world, Quando and his crew didn't seem ready to let things cool down. On November 24th, Quando posted a cryptic tweet saying, "We gon' see," leaving fans to wonder if more drama was coming. But Quando wasn't the only one taking shots in music. Just a week after End of Story was released, Lil Durk teased his own track, Hellcats and Trackhawks, on November 27th, 2020. In a snippet, Durk's lyrics suggested that he and his crew were ready to catch Quando at his shows, a possible reference to the rumor that Durk had bought all the tickets to Quando's recent gig.
On his ass where it shows at. He get away, we on his ass where he parole at.
Later, when the full version of Hellcats and Trackhawks dropped, it included even more lyrics where Durk seemed to hint at plans to catch up with Lil Tim and get revenge.
They got Timmy on the turn up in the blast on.
Durk also dropped a line directed at either Quando or NBA Youngboy, rapping that he's not feeling people's favorite rapper. The very next day, on November 28th, the same day Quando's original show was scheduled to happen, the mayor of Monroe, Georgia, canceled the performance. Quando then went live from a gas station, posting a menacing clip where he claimed to be there with his whole team from Jump Out Gang and the Rollin' 60s Crips, saying they were armed and ready if anything went down.
Police done cancel the show, cuz. That shit got me blowed. Cause we been ready. On 6-0, we been ready to put under.
Following the show's cancellation, 600 Breezy was quick to laugh at Quando on Instagram, mocking him and calling him a H on Twitter. This didn't sit well with Quando's crew, and Lil Pop responded with some bold tweets, claiming that people in their city who once admired the 33rd Street crew had now turned on them after King Von's death. He even seemed to address 600 Breezy directly, tweeting "F your friend," and saying he'd spit on his ops when he saw them in real life. The next day, Quando fired back with another video clip on social media, this time wearing a mask and holding a rifle, claiming he was in Chicago and daring his enemies to pull up.
We in that rack right now, pull up, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I ain't got no show, you get what I'm saying?
In response to Quando's claims about being in Chicago, 600 Breezy took things further by dropping his own address and daring Quando and his crew to show up. With rumors flying around that Quando canceled his show because he was scared to perform, Quando tried to put an end to the talk by calling his promoter on the phone and sharing footage that allegedly proved the promoter, not him, was behind the cancellation.
Listen, I got the promoter on the phone right now. This is the promoter from last night right here on the phone. All right, check this out, bet, bro. Please tell these folks I did not cancel no show, bet, bro.
Man, Quando ain't canceled. Man, the police and the mayor came at the last minute. They came at 9 o'clock saying we couldn't do the show.
However, some fans speculated the footage was fake due to a date stamp from 2018, though it could have been a time sync issue with the security camera. The pressure to constantly defend himself online must have worn on Quando, because he eventually deleted his Instagram, but the drama wasn't over. Just over a week later, on December 7th, alleged DMs began circulating that seemed to show Quando pleading with Lil Durk to end the feud, saying he couldn't do shows with all this heat on him. Durk's supposed reply was just as ominous: "Stay safe." Quando later returned to social media and denied that the DMs were real, calling them fake, but the rumors kept intensifying. Then, a day after the supposed DMs leaked, Lil Durk and King Von's close friend Mimo600 turned up the heat even more. He posted a picture in front of a sign in Savannah, Georgia, Quando's hometown, basically announcing that he was there looking for him. Mimo even went live at a Savannah gas station, showing off a gun and claiming he had all the cars with him. To drive the point home, he even imitated Quando's previous video where he stood at a gas station with his crew.
I'm in Savannah. On Waldo, we in Savannah, boy. We're in a M-Mart somewhere, gas station. Came out here to die today, cuz! Cuz! I came to die today, cuz! I can't leave my daughter all type.
After all the back and forth and public challenges, Quando eventually decided to schedule a new concert date for May 1st, 2021 in Waycross, Georgia. This show wasn't just about performing, it was a message. He wanted everyone, fans, rivals, and those who doubted him, to see that he could still show up, perform, and live his life without being scared. However, the reality would prove more complicated. On May 1st, Quando took the stage in Waycross, Georgia, but the turnout was surprisingly sparse. Clips surfaced of Quando performing to a nearly empty venue, and Quando himself acknowledged the disappointing turnout, even commenting on it to his fans. Despite the low attendance, he expressed gratitude to those who showed up.
I ain't gonna lie, man, my show was really big, you feel me? People at this, but I know I got a lot of shit going on, you feel me? But I still appreciate everybody who came out.
But the low turnout would soon become the least of Quando's worries. As the night progressed and Quando and his team left the venue, they made a stop at a Circle K gas station in the nearby town of Blackshear, just 11 minutes away. Around 3:20 a.m., while Quando and his entourage were parked in the gas station lot, someone began to open fire from across the street. Reports indicate that the barrage was intense, with over 100 bullets fired at Quando and his crew. At least one person was hit during the shooting, sustaining a gunshot wound to the hand and ending up in the hospital. Quando, however, managed to flee the scene before authorities arrived. As news spread, bystanders at the scene began to document the aftermath, posting videos of the crime scene to social media. In one widely shared clip, a woman can be heard narrating the situation, telling viewers that they were at the scene of the Quando Rondo shooting.
My God, it is Quando, y'all. It's got to be. They talking about it was the rapper that performed at the Vibe at the club. They talking about it was Quando.
She noted that the gunfire had been so loud that people down the street had heard it clearly, even walking up to bullet markers left by authorities to indicate where shell casings were found.
Look at all them bullets. Yeah, picking up bullets.
It was unclear who exactly was responsible for the shooting. Shortly after the incident, a gang from Savannah known as S8K, or the Section 8 Kids, posted a cryptic message online with a caption reading, "Get back gang." This phrase carries significant weight in Chicago's gang landscape, as it's the name associated with King Von's own group, known for its emphasis on revenge. Adding to the intrigue, the post featured audio from Lil Durk's track Hellcats and Track Hawks, in which Durk raps about catching someone lacking at a show, lyrics that eerily echoed the circumstances of the attack on Quando. Fast forward to August 2022, it appeared Durk had allegedly taken action once again, this time resulting in the death of Quando's friend Lil Pob. It was August 18th, and Quando Rondo had just landed in LA with his crew, which included his sister and his cousin Lil Pob. After learning Quando's whereabouts, it's said that Durk's people moved fast. Flights, rental cars, private jets, everything was booked urgently, as OTF members rushed to LA. The urgency wasn't random either. Reports say that a bounty had been placed on Quando's head, allegedly by a co-conspirator 1, the main person financing this operation. Many speculate that co-conspirator 1 is actually Lil Durk, given his high rank and resources in OTF. It's his label, his credit cards that were reportedly used for booking all of this. Flights, hotels, rental cars. The setup seemed all too organized, with multiple people involved in what looks like a revenge mission.
I believe that co-conspirator 1 seems to be aiming at somebody who's a boss within the OTF organization that could call that could put money up and also promise music opportunities. Aiming at someone who would be Durk or could be Durk's brother who passed. But the only person living would be Durk. It could be Durk.
Once OTF landed in LA, they moved like clockwork. They got what they needed. Cars, hotels, ski masks, firearms. They even communicated using coded messages to avoid suspicion. Eventually, they all gathered near Quando's hotel, knowing his entire schedule, even when and where he'd be heading next. On the day of the ambush, Quando was driving a black Escalade with OTF members tailing him in a white BMW. They tracked him discreetly, trailing his every move. It's said that Quando wasn't even aware he was being followed. When they finally caught up with him at a gas station, they wasted no time. OTF's crew parked nearby, hopped out, and began firing. The tragic part is Quando himself was inside the vehicle, but his cousin Lil Pob was outside when the shots rang out. Pob was hit, but Quando was fortunate enough to make it through unharmed. However, their actual target, Quando, escaped without a scratch, while his cousin didn't survive.
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
The plan was almost perfect. That is, until someone started talking. And that's where OTF Jam comes into the picture. Prominent figures in the hip-hop community, including Whack 100 and DJ Academics, have openly discussed the rumors about OTF Jam. Whack 100, during an interview on Vlad TV, provided some background on Jam's situation, stating he did 12 years, got out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him $50,000, made mention that ain't no smudge on his name. He ain't never been a rat, caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
Jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him $50,000.
Right.
Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
DJ Vlad added fuel to the conversation, agreeing with Whack and saying he had allegedly been wearing a wire for the last 2 years.
OTF Jam did 12 years for attempted murder. He got out in 2022, right around the same time of the Quando situation. And he allegedly had been wearing a wire for the last 2 years.
I'm 22 to 24.
Additionally, Chicago rapper King Yella also shared his thoughts, saying he had heard from a source within OTF that someone had snitched on Dirk, specifically naming OTF Jam.
But I heard somebody named OTF Jam. They said they've been calling him a rat. And basically he said, okay, I'm a rat. Well, watch this.
As if to confirm this further, multiple blogs and media outlets are reporting that OTF Jam's name is actually listed in the indictment as a police informant, making these accusations appear even more credible. With Jam cooperating, the feds had all they needed. They began putting together who made the call, who was in the car, who covered the flights, and all the other details they'd been missing. This whole situation just highlights the dark side of the gang lifestyle. As for Louie, he's incredibly grateful to be alive, and he says he just wants to leave Chicago and find peace in a quiet place, a choice many agree is a wise one.